Jesus, I surrender all to Him. I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him, in His presence daily live.
The 25th of December 1929, Volume 27. How the birth of Jesus was the rebirth of the divine will in his humanity, and everything he did were rebirths of it, formed in him in order to make it be reborn in creatures. Jesus was the true sacrificed one of his will. I was thinking of when my most sweet baby Jesus, fidgeting with love, came out of the womb of his celestial mamma. What joy for her to be able to squeeze him in her arms, kiss him, and engage in a contest in loving he who so much loved her. But while many thoughts were crowding my mind about the holy birth of the divine infant, I felt him move in my interior, and coming outside, he placed himself in my arms. And stretching out his tiny little hands to my neck, he told me, "My daughter, you too, kiss me and squeeze me to yourself, as I kiss you and squeeze you to myself. Let us love each other in such contest of love as to never stop." And abandoning himself in my arms as a tiny little baby, he remained silent. But who can say the squeezes of love, the affectionate kisses? I believe it is better to pass over them in silence. Then afterwards, resuming his speaking, he added, "My daughter, my birth in time was the rebirth of my divine will in my humanity, and as it was reborn in me, it brought the good news of its rebirth in the human generations. My fiat is eternal, but it can be said that it was as though born in Adam in order to form the long generation of the rebirth in the creature. But since Adam rejected this divine will, by rejecting it, he prevented the many rebirths it was to have in each creature, and with constant and invincible love it waited for my humanity in order to be born again in the midst of the human family. Therefore, everything I did in the whole course of my life, the baby tears, my moans and wailings, were nothing other than rebirths of my divine will that were formed in me, so as to make it be reborn in creatures. In fact, it being reborn in me and possessing it as my own, I had the right and the power to give it and make it be reborn in the creature. So everything that my humanity would do, steps, works, words, pains, and even my breath, and my very death, formed as many rebirths of my divine will for as many creatures as would have the good of the rebirth of my divine fiat. Since I am the head of the human family, and it my members as the head I called with my axe, I called the many rebirths of my divine volition within me, to let them pass to be reborn in my members, the creatures. Therefore there was not one act I did, even my very sacramental life, each consecrated host, are continuous rebirths of my supreme volition that it prepares for the creature. So I am the true sacrificed one of a cause so holy that my will may reign. I myself am he who formed its kingdom within me, and making it be reborn in me as many times for as many creatures as it would be reborn in, I formed its most holy empire and its reigning in the midst of my members. Now, my daughter, after I placed the kingdom of my divine will in safety within my humanity, I had to manifest it in order to make it known. Therefore I came to you, and I began to narrate to you the long story of my divine fiat. Now you must know that I have made and I make so many manifestations. I have spoken so many truths, so many words, for as many rebirths as my will did in my humanity. Its rebirths in me and its knowledges that I manifest to you will be in perfect balance. Each rebirth of my divine volition done in me and in each consecrated host will find a manifestation and a truth of its own that confirms it and will give it rebirth in the creature. In fact, in God, the Word forms the life of the good He wants to form in the creature. Our Word is bearer of life. Was it not our word fiat that, pronouncing itself, created the heavens, the sun, and everything that can be seen in the entire universe, and even the very life of man himself? Until we pronounced fiat, everything was in us. As it was pronounced, it populated heavens and earth with so many works, beautiful and worthy of us, that it gave the start to the long generation of so many human lives. See then how everything I tell you on my divine will bring with the power of my creative word its many rebirths done in me into the midst of the human family. Here is the great reason for a story so long and a speaking of mine so continuous. It will be in balance with everything that was done by us in creation and with everything I did in redemption. And if it seems that sometimes I remain silent, it is not because I have ceased my speaking, but because I take my rest. In fact, it is my usual way to rest in my very word and works that come out of me. Just as I did in creation, it was not pronounced always. I would say fiat, and I would pause, and then I would pronounce it again. So I do in you. I speak, I give you my lesson, and I take rest. First to enjoy in you the effects of my words, and to dispose you to receive the new life of my lesson. Therefore be attentive, and let your flight in my divine will be continuous. End of the reading. The 25th of December 1931, Volume 30. Desire of Jesus for the company of the creature. Extreme need of little baby Jesus to be loved with divine love by his celestial mother. I feel myself as though being inundated by the sea of light of the divine will. Oh, how I would really like to be the tiny little fish in this sea, in such a way as to see nothing but light and touch, breathe, live of light. Oh, how happy I would be to hear said to me that I am the daughter of the Celestial Father. But while I was thinking of this and other things, my dear life, my sweet and sovereign Jesus, visiting my little soul, made himself seen with seas of interminable light coming out from within his adorable person, and from within this light came out souls that populated the earth and all heaven. And Jesus, calling me, told me, "My daughter, come into this light. I want you here. The virtue of my light, its motion as fount of life, does nothing other than unleash souls, that is, life of creatures, from within its womb of light. Its power is so great that as it moves, it emits souls, and I want my beloved together with me, in the womb of my light, that is, of my will. As souls are formed and emitted outside, I do not want to be alone, but I want your company, that you may recognize the great portent of the creation of souls, our excessive love. And since I want you in my will, I want to deposit them in you, entrust them to you, not leaving them alone while they journey as pilgrims through the earth, but having someone together with me who would protect them and defend them for me. Oh, how sweet is the company of one who takes care of the lives that come out of me. This is so pleasing to me that I make one who lives in my will the depository of the creation of souls, the channel by which I let them come out to the light, and the channel to let them re-enter into the celestial fatherland. Everything do I want to give to one who wants to live in my fiat. Their company is necessary to my love, to my outpourings, and to my works, for they want to be recognized. To act and not to be recognized, they are like works that cannot boast triumph, nor sing victory and glory. Therefore do not deny me your company. You would deny your Jesus an outpouring of love, and my works would lack the cortege and the appreciation of the creature, and would remain like isolated works, and my love, constrained, would turn into justice. After this, I was thinking about the birth of little baby Jesus, especially in the act when he came out of the maternal womb, and the celestial infant told me, "Dearest daughter, you must know that as soon as I unleashed myself from the womb of my mama, I felt the need of a divine love and affection. I left my celestial father in the Imperium, loving each other with love fully divine. Everything was divine among the divine persons, affection, sanctity, power, and so forth. Nor did I want to change ways in coming upon earth. My divine will prepared for me the divine mother, in a way that I had divine father in heaven and divine mother on earth. And as soon as I came out of the maternal womb, feeling the extreme need of these divine affections, I ran into the arms of my mama to receive as the first food, first breath, first act of life for my tiny humanity, her divine love. And she unleashed the seas of divine love that my fiat had formed in her, and she loved me with divine love, as my Father loved me in heaven. And oh, how happy I was. I found my paradise in the love of my mama. Now you know that true love never says enough. If it could say enough, it would lose the nature of the true divine love. And therefore, even from the arms of my mother, while I was taking the food, the breath, the love, the paradise that she gave me, my love extended, made itself immense, embraced the centuries. It searched, ran, called, raved, for it wanted the divine daughters. And my will, to calm my love, presented to me the divine daughters whom it would form for me in the course of the centuries. And I looked at them, I embraced them, I loved them, and I received the breath of their divine affections. And I saw that the divine queen would not remain alone, but would have the generation of my divine daughters and hers. My will knows how to change and give the transformation and form the noble grafting from human to divine. Therefore, when I see you operate in it, I feel being given to me and repeated for me the paradise that my mama gave me when she received me, a little baby, into her arms. Therefore, those who do and live in my divine will make arise and form the sweet and beautiful hope that its kingdom will come upon earth, and I will delight in the paradise of the creature that my fiat has formed in them. And while my mind continued to think about what Jesus had told me, with a more intense and tender love, he added, "My good daughter, our love runs continuously toward the creature. Our loving motion that never ceases runs in the beating of the heart, in the thoughts of the mind, in the breathing of the lungs, in the blood that circulates. It runs, always runs, and vivifies, with our note and motion of love, the heartbeat, the thought, the breath, and it wants the encounter with the love palpitating, with the breath loving, with the thought that receives and gives us love. And while our love runs with unreachable rapidity, the love of the creature does not meet with ours. It remains behind and does not follow the race of our love that runs without ever stopping. And as we see that we are not even followed while we continue to go around in the heartbeat, in the breath, in the whole being of the creature, delirious, we exclaim, "Our love is not known, nor received, nor loved by the creature, and if she receives it, it is without knowing it." Oh, how hard it is to love and not be loved. Yet if our love did not run, their lives would cease in an instant. It would happen as to the clock. If there is the winding, it makes its tick, tick heard, and it marks the hours and the minutes in an admirable way, and it serves to maintain the order of the day, the public order. If the winding ceases, the tick, tick can no longer be heard. It is stopped as though lifeless, and there can be many disorders because the clock is not moving. The winding of the creature is my love, such that as this celestial winding runs, the heart palpitates, the blood circulates, the breath is formed. These can be called the hours, the minutes, the instants of the clock of the life of the creature. And in seeing that if I do not let the winding of my love run, they cannot live, and yet I am not loved back, my love continues its race, but with the attitude of dolorous and delirious love. Now, who will remove from us this sorrow, and who will soothe our loving delirium? One who will have our divine will as life. Our will as life will form the winding in the heartbeat, in the breath and so forth of the creature. It will form the sweet encounter with our love, and our winding and theirs will proceed at the same rate. Our continuous tick will be followed by their tick, and our love will no longer be alone in running, but will have its race together with the creature. Therefore I want nothing other than my will in the creature. End of the reading. The 12th of December 1932, volume 31. The birth of the infant Jesus was universal. He was born in all and in each one. How to keep us safe, he came to cover us with the garment of his humanity. Example of the Son. My abandonment in the Fiat continues, and today being Christmas, I spent all night without seeing my celestial baby, and I felt a crack in my heart without he who forms my life and my all. Ah, to live without him is living as if one had no life, tortured, without strength, without support. The forms most terrible of deaths for my poor and little soul. And between anxieties and fears, I prayed the Supreme Volition that it would reveal to me he who loved me and who formed my hard martyrdom. So in the meantime my mind remained as enraptured by an immense light that filled heaven and earth. And oh wonder, I saw the little divine baby reborn in every created thing, in every heart, in everything little Jesus multiplied, bilocated, reborn in an infinite way, in all and in each one, such that all have the good of seeing the celestial baby born in them. Oh, how beautiful it was to see him, tiny, tiny, in the sun, in the stars, in all the elements, in all creatures, that everything extolled and had the great honour, the immense good of his being reborn in each one, and of possessing as their own the sweet pledge of baby Jesus. Then between wonder and amazement, I saw that he whom I sought with so many sighs and anxieties was also born in me, and I clasped him strongly, strongly in my arms, and he let me do it. Rather, he enjoyed that I was doing it, and all tenderness he told me, "My daughter, love me, love me. I am born to love and to be loved, and in order to act as God, my birth was universal. I would not have done as God if I had not been reborn in an universal way, in a way that everyone can say with deeds. The celestial infant was born for me. He is mine, and this is so true that I already possess him. My love would have remained hindered if I could not be born in everyone, my power limited, my immensity restricted if my birth was not universal. And it is no wonder, as my divinity filled the heavens and earth, thus incorporating itself in my little humanity, it multiplied it and bilocated it in such a way as to make me be born in all and in each one. They are our divine and infinite ways that we have, that everything must take the good that we do and be pregnant with our works. Even more, when I descended from heaven to earth, I wanted to take human flesh in order to completely glorify the Celestial Father, to supply for everything a man had not done. This is why he wanted my little humanity also reborn in all created things, because man had not given us the glory, the exchange of love, for having created a heaven, a sun, and so many other things. And my humanity being reborn in them glorified my celestial Father completely for the whole work of creation. Man, by rejecting my divine will, was made powerless in everything, and I came to be his saviour, repairer, glorifier, defender, and I covered him within the garment of my humanity in order to keep him safe, and I answered to my celestial Father for him in everything. So much was my love that my divinity was able to give an outpouring to my love, that it brought me to being born in every heart and in all things. This is so true that the first ones to recognize me and to extol me were created things, because, feeling my birth in themselves, they exulted with joy and made feast for me. But do you know who are those who make feast for me in the birth of their hearts? Those who possess my divine will. These have immediately noticed that I am born in their hearts, and they make perennial feast for me. On the other hand, the others make me cry. They give me sorrow, and with sin they prepare for me the knife to either wound me or kill me. After this I remained all immersed in his love, and the moving scene of the birth of the celestial baby, so universal and in everyone, he made me understand who knows how many things. But I believe that it is better to pass over them in silence, because, not knowing how to say them well, I would blunder. So in order to make a feast for the celestial infant, I abandoned myself completely in the divine will. And he returning again, but so attractive, with a beauty so rare that one does not find another similar, and enclosing himself in my heart, all love, as a place of his birth, repeated in me his infantile wailings, loving moans, and repeated sobbings. Oh, how moving it was to see him now crying, now sobbing. He made the first entrance of being reborn in each one, and in all, with the weapons of his tears, with the stratagems of his sobbing, with the prayers of his wailings. With this he made himself enrapturer, and by way of enrapturing, with the strength of a God that he possessed, he entered into hearts in order to form his rebirth anew. Oh, the heavens bow down, and together with me love and adore the celestial infant. But while my mind was lost in a mystery so great, the sweet little baby, between tears and sobbings, mixed with a celestial attitude of appeal, added, "Blessed daughter, my birth was not only universal because as God I cannot do differently. I found myself in the condition of the Son, that whether they want it or they do not want it, all created things, all creatures, all creation must receive its light, its heat. From up high, descending with my empire of light and with my supremacy that I possess over everything and everyone, it seems that the Son says in its muteness, but stronger than if it could speak, whether you receive me with love or I invest you with the rights that I possess to give you light, if you do not want to receive you, I will surround you on all sides in a way that you cannot escape from my light, and I will have the great glory that I have given my light to everyone. The sun is a symbol of my birth, because it too is reborn in all days for each and every one. And I am not only born in a universal way, but I make an invasion when I am reborn. I am not only reborn in hearts, but I invade the mind with my thoughts, the eyes with my tears, the voice with my whimperings, in such a way that I make the universal invasion of all creatures. I take her from all sides, such that she cannot escape from me. If they receive me with love, my life not only is born in them, but it grows in a surprising way. If then they do not receive me with love, I am born in them with my rights of God that I possess, but I do not grow in them. I remain tiny and alone, and I change to being reserved, waiting. Who knows? With my weeping and tears they may be induced to love me. And if this does not happen, my life changes into justice for them. And oh, how my little heart agonizes to see my birth, all love, changed into justice for the poor creature. So since I am already born in you, give me the good of making me grow, so you will change my tears and my weeping into joys. End of the reading.
All to Jesus I surrender, all to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him, in His presence daily live.
25th of December, 1937, Volume 35, The Descent of the Divine Word. How He left heaven while still remaining there. Prodigies of the Incarnation. The beginning of the feast of the divine will. How in His divine works He put aside human ingratitude. The grafting. How the love of Jesus paid for all and rescued us. I was following the acts of the divine volition, and my poor mind paused in the act of the descent of the divine word upon earth. My God, how many wonders, how many surprises of love, of power, of divine wisdom. They are so great and so many that one doesn't know where to start to tell them. My beloved Jesus, as if inundated in His sea of love that forms its waves, surprising me, said, My blessed daughter, in my descent upon earth, the wonders, the ardour of our love, were so great and so many that neither angels nor creatures can understand all that our divinity operated in the mystery of my incarnation. You must know that our Supreme Being possesses its incessant motion by nature. If this motion should cease, even for an instant, which cannot be, all things would remain paralyzed and with no life, because all things, the life, the preservation, and all that exists in heaven and on earth, everything, depends on that motion. Therefore, in descending from heaven to earth, I, Word and Son of the Father, departed from our primary motion. Remaining, I left. The Father and the Holy Spirit descended with me. They were concurrent. Neither did I do any act if not together with them. And they still remained on the throne, full of majesty in the celestial regions. So as I left, my immensity, my love, and my power descended together with me, and my love, which is incredible and is not satisfied if it doesn't form from my life a life for each existing creature. Not only did this, but it formed my life everywhere and in every space, multiplying it. Keeping my immensity in its power, my love filled it with many of my lives, so that everyone could have a life of mine for himself, and the divinity could have the glory and the honour of a divine life for as many things and creatures as we delivered to daylight. Our love repaid us for the work of creation, and by forming many of our lives, it not only repaid us, but it gave us more than we had done. Our divinity remained enraptured and felt a sweet enchantment in seeing the devices and stratagems of our love, in seeing so many of our lives being spread out, since our love used our own immensity as the circle in which to place them. Therefore, while my life was the centre, my immensity and power were the circumference in which these innumerable lives were being deposited. These lives could find everything and everyone, and offered themselves to love us and to be loved. I remained surprised in hearing this, and my sweet Jesus, not giving me time, immediately added, My daughter, don't be surprised. When we operate, we do complete works, so that nobody can say, He didn't do this for me, His life is not all my own. Love cannot arise when things are not one's own and not kept within one's own power. And then isn't this what the sun also does? Work created by us in becoming light for the eyes, to the extent of filling them completely with light and being at the same time light, full and entire, for the hand that works, for the step that walks. In this way, everyone, created things and creatures, can say, "The sun is mine." While the centre of the sun is in the height of the atmosphere, its light departs and remains. With its circle of light, it invests the earth and becomes light for everyone, even for the little flower and the tiny blade of grass. The sun is not life. It has light, and light it gives, together with all the goods contained in its light. Our divinity is life, the author and life of all. Therefore, in descending from heaven to earth, I had to do complete acts and more than some, show off my life, multiplying it into many lives, so that heaven, earth, and everyone could possess my life. Otherwise, it would not have been a work worthy of our wisdom and of our infinite love. Jesus remained silent, and I continued to think about the birth of little baby Jesus. And he added, "Little daughter of my will, the feast of my birth was the feast, the beginning of the feast of my divine will." As the angels were singing, "Glory to God in the highest heavens, and peace on earth to the men of good will," all angels and creation assumed a festive mode, and while celebrating my birth, they celebrated the feast of my divine will. In fact, with my birth, our divinity received true glory unto the highest heavens, and men will have the true peace when they recognize my will, giving it dominion and allowing it to reign. Only then will they feel my will as good, will they feel the divine strength. Only then will heaven and earth sing together, "Glory to God in the highest heavens, and peace on earth to men who will possess the divine will." All will abound in these men, and they will possess the true peace. So I continued to think of the birth of little King Jesus, and I said to him, "Nice little baby, tell me, what did you do when you saw the great human ingratitude to your great love?" And Jesus, "My daughter, if I had taken into account the human ingratitude to my great love, I would have taken the way to go back to heaven, but I would have saddened and embittered my love and turned the feast into mourning. So would you like to know what I do in my greatest works in order to make them more beautiful? With pomp and with the greatest show of my love, I put everything aside, human ingratitude, sins, miseries, weaknesses, and I give course to my greatest works, as if those things did not exist. If I had wanted to care about the evils of man, I couldn't have done great works or put all my love on the field. I would have remained hampered, suffocated in my own love. Instead, in order to be free in my works and to make them as beautiful as I can, I place everything aside, and if necessary, I cover everything with my love, so that I see nothing but my love and my will. I move forward with my greatest works, and I perform them as if nobody had offended me. For our glory, nothing can be lacking to our decorum, to the beauty and the greatness of our works. This is why I would want that you too did not occupy yourself with your weaknesses, your evils, and your troubles. In fact, the more the creature thinks about those, the weaker she feels, and the more the poor one feels drowned by evils, while her miseries press round her more strongly. By thinking about it, weakness feeds more weakness, and the poor creature falls even more. Evils become stronger, miseries reduce her to starvation. But if she doesn't think about them, they disappear by themselves. Good is completely the opposite. One good feeds another good. One act of love calls for more love. One abandonment in my will makes her feel the new divine life within herself. Therefore, thinking of good forms the food and the strength to do more good. This is why I want your thinking to be occupied by nothing other than loving me and living in my will. My love will burn all your miseries and all your evils, and my divine volition will become your life, using your miseries as the base on which to raise its throne. Then I continued to think about the little newborn Jesus, and oh, how it broke my heart, seeing him crying, sobbing, wailing and shivering with cold. I wanted to place one "I love you" of mine for each pain and each tear of the divine little one, to warm him and to calm his crying. And Jesus added, "My daughter, I can feel one who lives in my will, in my tears and in my wailing. I feel her flowing in my crying sobs and in the shivering of my tiny limbs. By virtue of my will that she possesses, she turns the tears into smiles and the sobs into heavenly joys. With her love dirges, she warms me and changes the pains into kisses and hugs. Even more, know that one who lives in my will receives continuous grafts of all that my humanity does. If I think, I graft her thoughts. If I speak and pray, I graft her word. If I work, I graft her hands. There is nothing of what I do that does not form a graft for the creature, to make of her the repetition of my life. Even more so, since my divine will is in her, and I can find my power, my sanctity, and my very life to do whatever I want with her. How many prodigies can I not do when I find my will in the creature? I came on earth to cover everything with my love, to drown the very evils, and to burn everything with my love. By justice I wanted to repay my Father, because it was right for him to be restored in his honour, in the glory, in the love, and in the gratitude that everyone owed him. So my love couldn't find peace. It filled the gaps of his glory and of his honour, to the extent that through love it repaid the divinity who had created a heaven, a sun, a wind, a sea, a flowery earth, and all the rest, while man had uttered not even one thank you for the so many goods he had received. He had been the true thief, the ungrateful, the usurper of our goods. My love ran and ran in order to fill the abysses of distance between the Creator and the creature. It paid my celestial Father through love, and through love it brought back the human generations, to give back to them the life of my divine will, having already formed many lives from it as their ransom. And when my love pays, the value is such that it can afford to pay for everyone and to buy back whatever it wants. Therefore you have already been purchased by my love. So let me enjoy you and possess you. End of the reading. The 25th of December 1938, Volume 36. The Descent of the Word. How easy it is to make Jesus be born as long as we live in his will. The paradise that the Queen of Heaven made Jesus find on earth. My poor mind continues its path in the divine will. Oh, how happy it feels in seeing that its little newborn wanders in search of its acts, to know them, kiss them, adore them, and make them her own, and say, "How much you love me." I stopped at the descent of the Word upon earth, and I felt sorry in seeing him all alone. My sweet Jesus, with unspeakable tenderness, surprising me, told me, "My dearest daughter, you're wrong. Loneliness is part of human ingratitude, but from the divine side, all our works accompanied me, never leaving me alone. Further, you must know that the Father and the Holy Spirit descended together with me, while I still remained in heaven with them. They came down on earth within me, since we are inseparable. We cannot be separated, not even if we wish to be so. At the most, we bilocate ourselves so as to maintain our throne in heaven while forming our throne on earth. Being separated, never. At the most, the Word took the operative part, but always with the concourse of the Father and the Holy Spirit. Furthermore, in the act of my descent from heaven, everyone moved to be my court and render me the honours I deserve. The sky courted me with all its stars, rendering me the honour of my immutability and of my everlasting love. The sun courted me, paying me the honour of my eternal light. Oh, how well it praised the variety of its effects! I can say that as I found myself with its light and heat, in its mute language it told me, "You are the light, and I honour you, I adore you. I love you with the same light with which you created me." All surrounded me, the wind, the sea, the little bird, everything and everyone, to give me the love and the glory with which I had created them. And they praised my empire, my immensity, my infinite joys. All created things made me a feast, and if I cried, they cried together with me, because my will, residing in them, kept them aware of all that I was doing. Oh, how honoured they felt in doing all that their Creator was doing. Then I received the courting of the angels, who never left me alone. And since all times belong to me, I was also courted by all the many peoples who were going to live in my will. My will was carrying them in its arms, and I felt them beating in my heart, in my blood, and in my steps. In feeling invested by these people, loved by my own will, I felt repaid for my descent from heaven to earth. This was my primary scope, to reorder the kingdom of my will in the midst of my children. I would never have created the world if I was not have to have children who looked like me and lived in my own will. My will would find itself in the same condition as a poor, sterile mother who is not able to generate and therefore form her own family. But my will does have the power to generate and to form its long generations, its own family. Then I continued to think about the descent of the divine word, saying to myself, how could Jesus be born within our souls? And my dear baby said, my daughter, to make me be born is the easiest thing, more so since we do not know how to do difficult things. Our power felicitates everything. Provided that the creature lives in our will, all is done. As soon as the soul wants to live in it, she has already formed the home for your Jesus. At the moment she wants to start doing her acts, she conceives me. As she does her acts, she makes me be born. As she loves in my will, so she clothes me with light, forming me with the great coldness, warming me from the great coldness of the creatures. Every time she gives me her will to make my own, every time she gives me her will to take my own, I am amused. I have my toy to play with, and I sing my victory over the human will, feeling like the little triumphant king. See then, my daughter, how easy this is for your little Jesus, because when we find our will in the creature, we can do anything. It provides us with all that is needed and all that we want to form our life and our most beautiful works. But without our will, we remain hampered. Now love is missing, now sanctity, now power, now purity, and all that it takes to make our life rise again and to form it within the creature. Therefore, all depends on the creatures, since from our side we place ourselves at their disposal. Further, during my birth, my divine Mama made me a beautiful surprise with her acts, with her love, with the life of my will that she possessed. She formed my paradise on earth. She did nothing other than braid the whole creation with her love, laying seeds of beauty, making me enjoy our divine beauties within which her beauty was shining. How beautiful my mother was, how beautiful to find her in the whole of creation. She made me enjoy her beauty and the beauty of her acts. She spread her sea of love to make me find her love, my paradise of life in all created things. I delighted and exulted in my mamma's seas of love. She made for me in my will the most beautiful tunes and the most delightful concerts, so that her little Jesus would not miss the music of the Heavenly Fatherland. My mother took care of everything, so that nothing would be lacking of the enjoyment of the paradise I had left. She kept forming in each one of her acts new joys to make me happy. By just leaning on her heart, I could feel such harmonies and contents as to be enraptured. By living in my will, my dear mother carried paradise in her lap and let her son enjoy it. All her acts did nothing less than make me happy and redouble my paradise on earth. Now, my daughter, let me tell you another surprise. One who lives in my will is inseparable from me. She is born again each time together with me. Therefore I am never alone. I make her be born again with me to divine life, to new love, to new sanctity, and to new beauty. She is reborn in the knowledge of her Creator, reborn in each one of her acts. More than this, in every act she does, she calls me to be born again, forming a new paradise for her Jesus, and I make her be born again with me to make her happy. One of my greatest joys is to make those who live together with me happy. Therefore, be attentive to live in my will. If you want to make me happy, if you want me to find in your acts my paradise on earth, and I will take care to make you enjoy the sea of my joy and happiness. We will make each other happy. End of the reading. There are no more readings today. Have a blessed day, a blessed Christmas day.